Goeienaand, good evening, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. And this is a shout out to Bernard, who sent me a very interesting little piece, and we'll excuse Bonsai in the background, he's excited. my old dog is excited. Anyway, getting back to the point at hand here. Bernard sent me this little statement that was made on a paper yesterday. On the other hand, a ANC victory is actually a great thing for whites. We will no longer have to feel any shame or guilt for apartheid. We will be emotionally free at last. Now when you see poor blacks with no food, no job, living in a shack in the winter, lying 3 in a hospital bed, we can say, this is what people want. They are happy. Today we are absolved from any fault or guilt. It feels great. Now, doesn't that just sum up the situation? You don't have to be a genius to see what the ANC have done to the country. They've totally screwed it up. And yet they've voted them back in again. You know, it's not rocket science. And then you got Ace Magashule, the Secretary General of the ANC, clearly corrupt. Clearly, he shouldn't be in politics. He should be behind bars. And Peter Myberg's book, Gangster State, clearly confirmed that. But he told the incoming cabinet as Secretary General of the ANC, same old situation, the ANC, not your conscience, must lead you. You get that? So, your conscience plays no part if you're part of the ANC party. You have got to be led by people like Ramaphosa, Zuma, and Magashule, Ace Magashule, who is so corrupt. What they're actually confirming in that statement is that the South African government is no worse than the mafia. They are completely off the rails, and they have destroyed what was South Africa in just 25 years, less than a generation. But of course, if anything goes wrong, you point the bone towards a white person, don't you? That's the nature of these thugs, these crooked thugs, these evil crooked thugs. Newly elected cabinet members should not be led by their conscience, but by the ANC. That was a call from ANC Secretary General Ace Magashule in an interview with News 24's Chidi Madia on Friday at the National Election Centre in Tshwane, Gauteng. And I'll actually attach this video to my intro. The ANC is expected to win the national vote with about 57% of the support. Magashule told News 24 that he was looking forward to seeing men and women who work hard, who are loyal to South Africans, loyal to the Constitution, loyal to the organisation, the ANC, in cabinet. Magashule said new ministers who are members of parliament should not be led by their conscience but by the ANC. It is the organisation that put you there, he said. Now, I just want to comment on that. Clearly, the wider black African population have a complete disconnect with how this country has been screwed over by the ANC and their lackeys. If they knew what they were doing, they would never vote for the ANC or someone like the EFF or the BLF. Freedom Plus would have been their vote. But what is happening is that they've been indoctrinated, they've been intimidated, and the ANC has basically got a complete control over these people, despite the fact that the ANC is just destroying their future. They can't see it. You know, it's sitting there in front of them and they can't see it. It's very, very sad. And that's why that opening statement that I read out to you is so critical, because the white people in South Africa no longer have to feel any guilt. This is a decision by the black African population to bring in a corrupt government again. It's nothing to do with the whites. The whites are a tiny minority. You know, it is clear, very, very clear, that the African population have no idea what is actually going on behind the scenes. Asked whether he credits President Cyril Ramaphosa for the ANC's electoral victory, Magashule said Ramaphosa's name was not on the ballot and that he was part of a collective. Now, this is not the first time this has come up. I have had emails where people have sent me the list of the top 10 people in the ANC who are running the party like a company, a corrupt company. They're looking at stealing as much as they can, and they're all in there. You know, they're all looking at taking their piece of the slice of their cake. That the ANC party is not a political party. It is a corrupt organization run by a bunch of people at the top, and their figurehead, Ramaphosa, just happens to be one of them. So forget about the idea about this being a democratic party. It is a corrupt, mafia-like organization, stealing from South Africa. Magashule says in the interview, Cyril Ramaphosa is not the organization. Cyril Ramaphosa did not stand in any elections. Cyril Ramaphosa is part of the ANC. Don't isolate him from the ANC. The ANC is not me. He admitted that he was wrong to publicly claim during the election campaign that his cell phone was bugged by rogue state operators. Maybe I should have handled it inside the organization. You know what he means by handling it inside the organization? This Ace Magashule puts hitmen on his opponents. He is personally responsible for the deaths of many ANC political opponents. That's how mafia-like the ANC are. Remember, he is their Secretary General. Asked whether he believes he was a victim of a plot to unseat him as Secretary General, Magashule said he does not worry about plots. You know why he doesn't worry about plots? Because he has got his finger on so many hit groups. And if he hears a murmur, you're gone. You're dead. You know, you think of the old days in America when the mafia ran some cities. What you've now got is the equivalent mafia running South Africa. That is the bottom line. It's not rocket science. You just have to look at the facts. Referring to author Peter Louis Myburgh's book on him titled Gangster State, Magashule said he doesn't believe a man of 27 years can talk of my struggle credentials. Myburgh is 34. Magashule then claimed Myburgh didn't really write that book and that things will unfold. Asked by media whether he had instituted legal action against the book, Magashule said his lawyers were advising him to wait. But legal action will be taken, he said. Now, why is he waiting? Because if he goes to court under freedom of information, he will be forced to reveal the facts. And of course he can't afford that because he is a corrupt little piece of shit. A POS. In fact, Ace Magashule, pog my horn. Okay? Pog my horn. My God, what a ridiculous thing to say. He says, my conscience is very clear. I have done nothing. I have not done everything wrong. Okay, let me say that again. Magashule says, my conscience is very clear. I have not done everything wrong. But how much have you done wrong? How corrupt are you? Gangster State reveals probably just the tip of the iceberg of what's going on within the ANC and the Secretary General. Anyway, the man who was closely linked to the controversial Gupta family and to a decade of alleged state capture in the Free State made that statement. In response to Magashule's former Gauteng MEC for Education, Mary Metcalf's tweeted, "I disagree, one's conscience can not always lead." Well, there you go. You have one of the clearly corrupt people. Well, look, the whole ANC organization is corrupt. So from the top, from the Secretary General down, the ANC is a corrupt organization, and he is now telling people to not be led by their conscience, but to be led by the ANC leadership. Remember, the ANC leadership are the people at the top. They're all corrupt. They're all on the take. And they're the ones who are going to dictate what happens in South Africa following this election. And as that guy said at the very beginning, and I might repeat that because it's a really good statement, he said, "On the other hand, a ANC victory is actually a great thing for whites. We will no longer have to feel any shame or guilt for apartheid. We will be emotionally free at last. Now, when you see poor blacks with no food, no job, living in shacks in winter, lying 3 in a hospital bed, we can say, this is what the people want. They are happy. Today we are absolved from any fault or guilt, and it feels great." The people have decided. They like a mafia state. They like a corrupt government. What can the minority white people do about it? Nothing. Please remember to subscribe to be kept informed, and click the bell so you get the little lines on each side so all the updates come through to you. And have a great evening. Bye for now.
My name is Tsidi Madia. Joining me at the moment is the ANC Secretary General, Ace Magashule. But before I delve into this conversation, I just want to remind you, we are here with you throughout the day. We're bringing you updates, we're bringing you numbers that are coming up on the board, and we're bringing you different political characters who are sharing their views on the elections, how they went, and the way forward for the country. As I said, right now I'm joined by the ANC Secretary General, Ace. He joins me now. Hello, SG. Thank you so much for joining me.
Wonderful, lovely day today.
Yeah, I haven't seen you in a very long time.
The day on election day was going to be like this: no rain, no wind. Unfortunately,
that sounds like you're setting me up for an excuse about the weather.
Unfortunately,
I first want your views about that number, 57.68%. That's what the ANC is standing, from what I understand at the moment. Are you happy with those numbers?
well, not that happy because we could have done better, and I think we are still going to do better. We have not done better because you know the weather was bad.
That's what I was saying to you. You're setting me up for this weather excuse already, so quickly.
It's not an excuse, it's a reality. Where I was in Botshabelo, Bloemfontein, you know the rain, the water was up to my knee here. So people could not go and vote. It's unlike in suburbs, white areas, where you have schools, where you have facilities, where you get into a car, you go to a station, you vote, there's no queue. Unfortunate, but those are the inequalities of South Africa which we must fix as we move forward into the future.
You know, one would argue that there was a time when the ANC was so loved by black South Africans particularly, actually South Africans across the board, that they would risk the rain. They would have the high water levels to make sure they put a mark next to the ANC to let you know they love you and they want you to vote for them. So in times like these, when the weather gets in the way, they go, oh, it's too cold. Does that not say something about the ANC?
Has it happened? It has not happened.
There was a time when you were so loved, you got to 2/3 majority. What happened?
No, there was no rain during those days. The weather was wonderful, my sister.
I'm struggling with that, SG. But anyway, it's taken a lot to get to this number. I mean, when you started off, South Africans were very mad. Some say this is an indication that you have been forgiven to a large extent by South Africans who are willing to give you yet another shot. Well,
South Africans love the ANC. South Africans have given the ANC another chance. With liberation movements, after 20 years, movements also vanish, they become smaller. But the ANC is still a very big part in South Africa. Remember, there are many young people who were born after apartheid. They don't know this apartheid and all that. Remember, part of the internal issues within the ANC have actually also cost us, even though we have renewed the ANC, we are continuing to renew it. But we can't deny the fact that some of these issues which affected us in various provinces, be it Northwest, be it KZN, be it all over South Africa, we are actually affected. Those are some of the contributing factors. But the fact of the matter is that South Africans still have hope in the African National Congress. Not in us as leaders, in the African National Congress.
In the
as
brand,
an organization,
ANC.
The ANC, the organization which has took them out of poverty, which is still continuing to go to still do it, to make sure that children are at school, to make sure that those who have no houses must have shelter tomorrow. We are going to continue with that. We have gone to a lot of areas where there was no water. And you expect people to still vote us when we can see on daily basis these people sleep without food, without water, without electricity. Those are realities of South Africa. But it is wonderful to have multi-democracy in the whole world. It's only here in South Africa where you have 48 parties contesting for elections.
That was a very long ballot paper. Do you think the ANC can live up to people's expectations? Can it actually restore faith in the faith that people once had in the ANC? In this particular administration where you are the engine and the heartbeat of this organization, can you steer the ANC back towards the people?
The people have said to us,
one more chance.
This is another chance for you.
And maybe you're lost.
And there is no way we can fail the people. We must forget about ourselves as individuals. We must be selfless. We must learn from the mistakes which people might actually say we have committed collectively or as individuals. We must actually ensure that the unity of the ANC is paramount. And we must forget about factionalism. We must forget about individualism. We must forget about I'm the one in charge, I'm the one. We must actually move as a collective and make sure that we move with communities, not just with branch members of the ANC. We must be a community-orientated, driven organization as we used to be. And we will do it. We won't fail our people.
Is that possible?
Yes,
Let me ask you why I'm asking if it's possible. You raise factionalism right now. And the one observation some people made in the lead up to the elections during the campaign is that even the leaders of the ANC cannot help but bring factional issues into discussions, into campaigns, while they're out trying to meet with communities. Some of the things you've said, some people have said, but that's factional. Some things that have been said by other NEC members have been seen as factional. So for people, you're still so self-involved that you can't even fully operate or function and focus on one thing at a time. So I ask, when you say to South Africans, you can and you will, and we have millions of viewers here, when you say that to them, how seriously must they take that when we're seeing what we've been seeing in the middle of campaigns?
Well, that's why we must correct ourselves. But some of us, some of the people might have said the right things, and some within us will actually then say, one statement I've said, there is no way you hope as the ANC can be white South Africans, because I've said majority of white South Africans will continue voting, and this result tell you must go and analyze the white suburbs and analyze how many whites have moved away from the DA, moved away and voted Freedom Front.
Yes, it's quite spectacular. Yeah.
Magashule is saying something is against non-racialism. No, but whatever somebody has said, even if us, we are not supposed to make certain comments. If somebody we think is wrong, he has said certain things publicly, we were also supposed to respond internally, so that we don't heighten these tensions and divisions.
Okay, because
we learn from our mistakes. Even myself, I can only be corrected by a collective, by an organization, and I can assure the people of South Africa, we have no choice. If we are true members of the African National Congress,
sure,
we have no choice, but we have ourselves to blame.
There are two instances when you speak of yourself that come to mind. You know, there was a day where you're on a campaign in the Free State where you spoke about how you believe your phone, the DSG's phones were being bugged. I do understand you've taken some sort of action and went to go lay a formal complaint. That's what I heard after that. But do you think the timing was fair for you to then say, you know, your phones are bugged? Was the timing accurate?
No, but Zizi Kwata said it two weeks before me.
Is his timing okay? Is it because he did it, it's right when you do it?
No, I was not doing it because of the timing.
Sure.
I was actually worried that continuously people are actually doing what is not supposed to do against the law. But I agree that maybe the timing was not right. I could just have raised it internally.
Yes.
So I understand where
you take
people
the criticism
come from.
there.
I take the criticism.
Yeah.
I can't be this arrogant and say, no, I was right. And
the new ANC takes
No.
criticism. The other issue now, and maybe I'm also asking for clarity, I wasn't on the floor when you arrived, but I heard a lot of people saying, well, the issue the ANC says it's not about Cyril Ramaphosa. What we've been told, time and memoriam as journalists, is Cyril Ramaphosa punches above the ANC's weight. He's carrying the ANC, just like Nelson Mandela in during his era had to carry the ANC. His brand, personal brand, was bigger than the party. And now some are saying, do you give credit to Cyril Ramaphosa for the ANC retaining its majority? And apparently you said no, you don't give credit to Cyril Ramaphosa. I don't know how that was taken or understood.
I've never said I'm not giving credit.
I'm asking
to
for clarity,
Cyril Ramaphosa.
okay?
I've said Cyril Ramaphosa is part of a collective. Cyril Ramaphosa is a member of the African National Congress. Cyril Ramaphosa is a South African. The ANC as an organization, Cyril Ramaphosa is not standing in any province. People in provinces have voted ANC. And Cyril Ramaphosa is part of our collective. Don't try and do what people have done, trying to isolate Mandela from the ANC. So don't isolate Cyril Ramaphosa from the ANC. What will the ANC be without me? It's something else. The ANC is not me. If branches, if volunteers of the ANC, if communities did not support us and support and campaign for us, who will actually do it? The best people who have done their work is not just even leaders. It's simple volunteers,
the
ordinary
ground forces,
community
the
members,
people on the ground,
supporters of the ANC, fans of the ANC, South Africans. So the people determine their own destiny. So the people have supported the organization, but Cyril Ramaphosa as an individual, like many other NEC members and other leaders, former presidents, have played their role. And this is where the ANC is. It's a collective role. Yeah. I'm not saying Cyril Ramaphosa has not played any role. It will be wrong for me to say that. As a leader of the ANC, the people love the ANC.
Do you have faith in him? I like the way that you use love. I don't want to use the word love. Do you have faith in Cyril Ramaphosa, and that Cyril Ramaphosa will do right by both the ANC and the country, but mostly in leading the organization?
The way I have been schooled in the ANC, I have always respected the leadership of the ANC, from Oliver Tambo to Thabo Mbeki to Mandela to Zuma. Now it's Cyril Ramaphosa. That's how we are schooled. That's how we are cultured.
But you're also individuals. You might be a collective, but you're individuals within a system. And you're part of a top 6 leadership that has this massive job of putting this massive machinery together. Do you have faith that the person who's at the helm, working with you, leading the party, do you have faith that he will do right by the organization and by all of you as leaders, because you must treat each other well?
All of us working together, the ANC can actually improve quite a lot. I can assure you, I'm not talking about Cyril Ramaphosa, I'm saying there is no individual who can be higher and better than an organization called the ANC. We are a different organization from these organizations of individuals. We are quite different.
So at no point do you score Cyril Ramaphosa as an individual? At no point do you score Ramaphosa as an individual leader within the party?
Don't see Comrade Cyril as an individual. Put Comrade Cyril Ramaphosa as the leader of the ANC. Who is schooled in the ANC politics? Cyril Ramaphosa, part of the collective.
A collective that you believe can unify the organization?
He has even to play a bigger role as the leader of the ANC.
Do you have faith that he can do
unify.
that?
He has already started doing that. We have seen the
But
fruits.
you and I have just spoke about the factions and saying that it does spill out. So when those things are happening,
factions
yes,
have been doing that, and those factions were no more factions of Cyril Ramaphosa and Nkosazana Dlamini.
Sure,
factions play themselves out in
they
different
evolved
forms
quite a lot, actually.
So
yes.
The fact that we still have people who are fighting inside the ANC, maybe genuinely so because certain things are going wrong, but it's not how we're actually taught by the ANC. If I have issues, I raise them internally.
That doesn't always happen. That's what I'm struggling with.
If it doesn't always happen, we have to do a lot of political education.
Yeah, I suppose.
As leaders, we have to be patient. You guys want us to resolve political issues within days. It doesn't
Maybe
happen
it's
that
us who are
way.
impatient, yeah.
You are very impatient. We are very patient because it can take years to put the ANC where it's supposed to be.
Now, we recognize that the SG is the engine of the movement. I'm going to narrow it down to you for a little bit because part of whether or not the ANC succeeds does lie with you.
The engine of the organization is the National Executive Committee.
And they say the heartbeat.
Part of them.
And they say the CEO and the heartbeat lies in your office. You know?
I don't know why people say that.
You're the day-to-day person. You run the organization. Do you feel comfortable in your space, in your office, in what you're doing? Do you feel respected in your space in the ANC?
Well, respect you earn. Respect you don't demand. If there are people who don't respect you, you just prove yourself by working hard, by doing right things, and automatically those people will respect you. You don't demand respect, you earn it, and earning respect takes time. If, for instance, I was not in good books of certain people, I have to prove myself. If I did certain things which are wrong things, I still have to earn that, and
have you
people
proven,
respect.
do you feel you've proven yourself? I'm trying to get to the other end of the other side of this.
Time will tell.
You don't know yet.
Time will tell.
You know, SG, there's this.
It's not for me to say it. It must be people who were even against me as Secretary General.
Those people remain. That's what I'm trying to get to. That while 2017 was a long time ago, there's still some people who are hung up on you don't belong there, you're in the wrong office, you're not the man who's meant to be running the engine. I know you said the engine is the NEC, but you're not the man who's meant to be at the heartbeat. So my question to you is about that, is that do you feel comfortable when these voices still kind of sort of exist in the ANC?
I was elected by structures of the ANC.
Yes, you were.
That's why I feel comfortable, confident, strong all the time.
You're not worried they're going to try and unseat you now after the elections?
Why will they do that?
I just said to you, some feel you don't belong in that office.
When people unseat you, you must be that thing will only
Though
happen by the
elected,
National General Council, or
that's not that
the
far.
National General Council is not will be unseated by the National Conference.
National General Council is not that far. You speak of it now. Are you not worried that there is also a plot against SG, Ace Magashule?
I don't worry about plots. It won't succeed.
Because some in the ANC also read a book by Peter Myburgh in a different light. They saw that book as part of a plot, as opposed to a journalist went and wanted to look into a particular figure in the ANC. They saw it as this is part of a long plot to try and do something to Ace Magashule.
Well,
you didn't see it that way?
Of course, I see it that way.
You see it as a plot?
A young man of 27 years talking about my struggle credentials, doesn't know me. Where does he come from? I don't believe that he is the man who has written that book.
You think you're sent to do that?
Told, you'll see things unfolding. Wait for the next
week. You keep saying
or...
that to us, you know?
No, you don't rush. I'm not a lawyer. I have studied LLB one, I passed it. And
yes.
I'm not a lawyer.
But you keep promising us a lot of things.
Lawyers advise us.
Yes.
I'm so eager to go anywhere, even to the commission.
We're waiting for all of that.
Lawyers are saying, wait.
So the lawyers are making you wait on the commission, they're making you wait on Peter Louis' book.
Lawyers are lawyers. They better understand the law. You and I want to do things like we understand the law. No, the commission is not a court of law. There is a court of law. There are different roles which people play. I'm a politician.
Yes.
When advised, I take the advice, but there will be legal processes. Don't rush.
They will.
Don't rush because you want us to rush. And when you rush, that is the trap which people are trying to put me in.
Oh, so you think people are trying to trap you?
Yeah, no, because they say do it. And how many people,
I'm not
are not doing it? No, not you.
But I become part of that when I say, please tell us. Because to lay complaints is one thing without taking action. For me as an outsider, I go, okay, he says he's being bugged. How serious is he in making the claim? Is it just politics at play? Or if he's serious, I'm linking it to the book. You say you think there's more to it, you think it's a plot. I'm watching you, waiting to see what you do to show the seriousness of the claims you make.
I hope you have read the book. The people in the book, I have not even met a lot of these people they are talking about. I've never met them. Yeah?
But over and above that, when you say there's a plot, one would seek to expose a plot that's out to get them. That's why I'm asking those particular questions.
When a young man knows that he has nothing to lose and they make use of him to write a book, what are you going to gain from him?
Are you not seeking the so-called people behind it?
Watch the space. At the right time, things will happen. And they are starting to happen. If you read, they are starting to happen.
That leads to my next question. Some claim that lawmakers will be set on Ace Magashule after the elections. Do you have any fear? Have you heard any talk about anything like that? That the SIU will come after you? Have you heard anything along those lines? And are you concerned about these kind of rumors? And again, it fits into the plot claims.
Well, that's what you guys are saying. This is what people are saying. So what?
So you've been hearing the same thing?
Well, I hear all these things all the time. There is no smoke without fire. But we leave matters there.
Are you worried?
I'm not worried at all.
Come what may, you ready, you standing?
I'm not worried at all.
You ready, you standing, yeah?
My conscience is very clear. I've not done anything wrong. I was making an example of a comrade called Mukola, who was put aside by Integrity Commission. He was charged criminally and all that 4 or 5 years. The man his charges are withdrawn now.
But it
many
disrupted
people
his life.
have been charged with so-called corruption after 4 or 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, acquitted by the court of law, and nothing is said about those people. There are many in South Africa.
Their lives have been disrupted for nothing, and nothing is said. So you see yourself falling into that kind of trap?
In 96, there was a commission of inquiry. When it was spread, I'm corrupt, and the former Premier, Comrade Terra Lekota, appointed the commission. He appointed the commission himself. The commission, and the commission is not a court of law. It cleared me, and the commission's findings are not binding. Cleared me.
And it depends. So
who still goes back to that area and say, but in the eyes of the public, I was this corrupt individual.
Do you think you're still tainted based on a commission from set up by Mr. Lekota?
I've been tainted on the allegations of corruption against me
back then,
early as 1996.
So a figure's been built. You've been made this notorious character based on claims where you're cleared off, and they've carried through all the way to 2019. Oh,
if somebody says, for instance, a chap I don't even know, I've never met, ATM chap, he says we met.
Yes, because you're linked to this church and this party with former President Jacob Zuma.
The man doesn't even know me. The man has not even talked to me over the phone. I'm surprised. I just hear the man saying something. I say, but and you guys are saying take legal action.
Yeah, they're lying about you. You said there's no smoke without fire.
Legal action is also money. You pay lawyers. You don't just. You don't.
But you know that now sounds like an excuse, though.
Some of these people who are just.
You take them to court with cost.
You leave them.
But it taints your name.
What will you have from a man who has no cent?
But it taints your name.
What do you do with somebody who has no cent? This young boy has nothing.
But how important is your credibility and your dignity?
I will do that.
How important are those things?
Once I've done that, you are going to say Magashule doesn't respect the views of others.
We'd never.
But I will take
if it's about clearing your name, it's never.
My sister, I will take action.
I'm going to trust that you are, but I want to move on because I am running out of time. I want to come back to the ANC. What sort of ANC do you want to see? I mean, now the ANC has been given another mandate. The ANC government, what do you want it to do once it goes back into office, in essence, after being inaugurated and a new parliament has been opened? Maybe let's focus purely on the cabinet. What sort of cabinet do you want to see President Ramaphosa appoint for the ANC government?
A good cabinet, a cabinet of men and women. You can't just say it's just people who work hard. People who will be loyal to South Africans. People who will be loyal to the constitution. People who will be loyal to the organization called the ANC. People who are going to know that they are there in parliament. They are there as ministers because of the party first and foremost, because of South Africans. People will remember that it is not their conscience which is actually leading them. They must remember the party because they did not come in their own names and tickets. They did not say, I is Magashule, I'm standing, and people voted, I is Magashule. People voted the ANC. People will actually implement the resolutions of the National Conference, which is the highest decision-making body of the ANC. Once people can do all those things, we will not have a divided ANC. But once people move from the mandates given by branches of the ANC, as well as listening to the concerns of ordinary South Africans who have voted us, because we have not been put into government, in parliament, by ANC members, card-carrying members. We are voted by millions of South Africans, and we must actually satisfy those millions, including those who protested during the voting period. They did not vote, including those who have voted for other parties. Ours is to make sure we serve all South Africans so that we regain our ground, we regain our respect as the ANC. And I think all of us as leaders of the ANC, from the president, he has played that role, and all of us to follow and make sure that we do the right thing.
Okay, I'm pretty much done. I'm almost done. I've got a parting shot for you. The ANC list, there's been so much back and forth about it. The Integrity Commission was meant to table a report to the NEC. I think that happens now after the elections. What is the ANC going to do? What's the NEC going to do? The people that the Integrity Commission do not want to see serving the ANC, even in Parliament, will those people be dropped?
Don't judge people before you have even heard them. Don't judge people before you apply this universal principle of innocence until proven
So will the
otherwise.
Integrity Commission's report be ignored?
No, it won't be ignored.
Will it be
It will be
adhered to?
discussed.
Yeah?
Yeah, but individual ANC members know their rights as members of the ANC. We are a constitutional state, the Constitution of South Africa, and that's why those people are on the list, because they have not committed any crime. They have not. Otherwise, they were not going to be there.
The IEC did let them through, but South Africans have definitely complained about some of those names.
No, the IEC is following the Constitution and the law.
Yes, but the South Africans you still want to serve and you still want us to love you.
It's not South Africans, it's the media.
I disagree, but I'm going to leave it at that. That was the ANC SG Secretary General Ace Magashule. Very interesting views there. I'm going to cut now to the floor where our colleague Alex is there. Let's go there and see what's happening. But from us, this is it. We'll be back much later to keep you updated on, again, the numbers and the politicians and what's happening here at the IEC's Results Operations Center. For News 24, I'm Sidi Madia.